Hey everybody, welcome to the Way Podcast.
A journey to an unconventional life. I'm Michael Lavalley, and
I'm Chris Pentecost, and today
Yeah,
we're honestly going to be just chatting because I have no idea what the hell you're wearing.
oh,
This is
yeah.
different. This is way different. I'm sorry if I came off confrontational, but it works, I guess.
It's just that I saw a stylist today, and we remodeled my closet.
I thought for sure you were like in lumberjack mode, like you're just going out getting your own wood, because that's what it looks like right now.
Yeah, but what do you want me to cut? Like palm tree?
Damn, you make a fair fact. If you didn't know, we're in Florida, so
Yes.
that'll give you a hint. It's either Florida, California, or Hawaii, and we're damn sure not on an island.
Yeah, I mean there's some palm tree in North Carolina also.
Really?
Yes, I think the first palm tree that I saw was on North Carolina.
Oh.
So if you know that, comment to tell me that I'm right, and if I'm wrong, just don't comment.
Just shut up. And if you think he's wrong, go ahead and like the video. That's how.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't really come up with a subject today. We're just sort of winging it, seeing what goes on.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be going on vacation in a few days. He just doesn't. He's already been doing enough work behind the scenes. He doesn't really feel like putting. It's not that we don't want to put effort into this. It's that we don't feel our top selves today. So we're just gonna chat.
Yeah, exactly. So
How you
how
feel?
was your day?
Damn, I was gonna ask you the same thing. Well, it's mostly been sleepy. As you know, I work overnights.
Yes.
So I woke up around 2:30, and honestly, that's also the wake up time for most people, most gamers. So yeah, waking up around that time. As soon as I got out, I heard commotion going on between you and your wife, and I immediately wanted to fuck around and find out. Turns out, if you fuck around and find out, you're probably gonna get roasted, which is exactly what happened to me. But yeah, other than that, it's been a little crazy out here in Florida. We've just in our local news, we've had 2 suspected homicides right down the street from us.
Really?
I only learned this through my job. There have been 2 suspected homicides in the neighborhood, and they've been targeting older women.
Yes.
So that does not feel good. But honestly, it's a scary thing to think about because that's 3% of the population wherever you go. 1 to 5% of every population has a psychopath in it.
Yeah, we talked about that
We did.
on another video. Like we said that already. Yeah.
We did, yeah. I mean, it still reigns true. So
Yes.
anywhere you go, there's probably going to be a less than 1% chance that there is a crazy person there.
Yeah.
But that's still a chance. That's still like.
Yeah. There's some area in the population that is more concentrated. I feel like because some area are more safe or more.
Right, if we're talking, for instance, like DeLand compared to Orlando, that's a way different population, and as a result, a way different percentage of crazy people.
Yeah.
Still ranging 1 to 5% per population, but in Orlando, there's going to be a lot more crazy people. Similar to like, let's say, New York City, New York compared to Auburn, New York. It's way different, still high populations, but way different populations.
Yeah.
In both areas. I find it weird that people pick and choose the most densely populated areas to continue to populate. You were talking not too long ago in another one of our videos about how you wanted to build a city.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you think that'll help curate the population issue we're having in cities?
I mean, probably not, because at the end, like it would be like concentrate again, and, but maybe to rethink that will help, like getting better, like getting the negative point of the city of we built like who was built like for the 100 years ago, like let's say for instance. So let's say that the city was built 100 years ago, the needs and of the population was not the same as right now. So I believe that new cities equal like solution to problems that old city have. Yeah, so
That is fair because
we improve, like we evolve, and we
because the ultimate goal of a city is to grow the population. But if it gets too out of hand, it doesn't become a city anymore. Now it becomes like a metropolitan. It goes from a city to an entire area of
Yeah, and we don't talk about the megalopole also.
the what?
Megalopole? Like
Mega-
there's metropole, megalopole, and
Oh shit! Yeah, I didn't even think about the ranges of cities because there's only a few of those, and well, by a few, they're like in the tens, but they're definitely under 1,000. They're in the tens, maybe the hundreds, but they're still too big to regulate with just one police department. They usually require like a metropolitan area. They could require a suburban area, require different areas of different police departments that all have to intercommunicate. It's weird because it's trying to work like a body, like how the brain communicates with the rest of the body. That's not how it works. It ends up being like different little brains all over the body rather than just one central brain that makes the actual decisions.
But I mean, I'm not saying that there's such thing as like a perfect city, like a perfect metropole or whatever.
Metropolis, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, at one point, I believe that we will have to get there, like build new city, because like it's how the universe has worked and
The best
the world has worked and everything.
the best way that how I used to see it going was well, this was more like in the generation previous to us. I would see it in like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and whatnot. Was little side cities off of highways, like little towns with shops and unique things on it. I think that's a great way to start up. It's just there's no advertising for it. So if you're not on a major highway, more than likely you're going to get passed right by, and your state's just going to dissolve. What do you think would be a good solution for that? For having a village having a village or town that's not on a main highway that needs to grow.
Oh, I mean, you need to create jobs, I believe, like because the jobs attract the people, and if you have like something that people want and need in your city or village or whatever, that's what I would
So what kind of let's say you're in a generally agricultural area. How would you create jobs for that town?
I don't think you can because agriculture like is going more robotized, and so
It's becoming automatized for sure.
automatized, automated and everything. So I don't think. I mean, maybe you will develop like more like a certain if it's very agricultural based. Maybe you could develop like your technology there, like since they have so much land there, but again, like it's just there's so much place like that. So like to attract the company, you will develop their business around your area. I feel like that's.
But you don't think there'd be any other like things you could introduce to the agriculture area that would support its actual township? Because when it's just agriculture, they're mainly exporting goods like wheats, grains, farm animals, farm meats, eggs, a lot of eggs because everyone has chickens. Oh, that's actually one thing I want to talk to you about. It's self-sufficient properties.
Yes.
So one weird thing that I've noticed, especially now that I'm getting more into my like prime adult age, I've noticed a lot of people aiming towards self-sufficiency in their own property, whether they have like an acre of land or even a half acre, maybe even a quarter acre. As long as they got a yard, they usually have a chicken coop, maybe another farm animal, usually a goat, and they grow a little garden, so that way they can just grow all their food and have it naturally rather than rely on the grocery stores. What do you think about that?
I think that's in New Mexico. There's a guy who started like building houses with recycled material. Yeah. So he basically made the foundation with tires with sand in it, and then like with cans he made the walls and everything, and like it's very it's innovative, but it's only in New Mexico, I believe. So because he developed like multiple houses like that, but and got a school also, like so people can go learn how to build that and build their own and so on. But yeah, that's really interesting. Like those people are self-sufficient because they are in the desert and they just live.
Well, that sounds
self-sufficient,
like, that sounds a little bit like the opposite of what I was speaking of, which is like having a farm on land and growing your own food. The building houses with recycled materials, that's very interesting, and
Yes.
I definitely want to touch more on that in a minute here. But what I was trying to get at was, for instance, let's say you just bought a half acre of property, right?
Yes.
You can do whatever you want with that property.
Yeah, I mean there's some regulation, but
Yes, there could be HOA regulations depending on where you move to. But if you were given permission to build basically your own farmland on that
Yes.
land, would you actually go through with like building the chicken coop, getting the farm animals, getting the garden, or would you feel like that's just a bit too much for you to be able to?
no, I mean I've done that in Canada. Like I had kind of a big land there, and I had like chicken, I had my garden, I had the basics. Like, but it's just yeah, with the new technology and everything, I believe like maybe the farmland will be like more vertical farmland also, because there's a thing. Like I had a friend in Canada who had like he was growing salad or lettuce or little germ of like
So he's
he
growing.
was growing
lettuce.
vertically in all inside the environment and with lights and like system of water and
You
yeah,
know-
and you can like reuse the water and everything, so like that it's less cost and
Okay,
yeah,
so it has a circulating feeding system, a circulating
Yes.
water system,
and
as
you
well
don't
as
have the bugs, you don't have to put pesticide on it, you don't have to put like anything. It's like
that's a really big benefit
Yes.
because that's a big worry, especially for a lot of people out in grocery stores. You're always told whenever you get a fruit or a vegetable well, not a vegetable, whenever you get a fruit from a grocery store to always wash it off first because
Mhm.
you're washing off the pesticides and the wax. That is very true. You do have to wash off the outside of the fruit first. When you grow it yourself, you don't have to do any of that as long as you know
Yes.
you don't have a bug problem.
yeah.
But you said he was growing it vertically. How was he
Yes.
doing that?
I mean, it's like he was putting it on rack. That was his system. Like there was rack, and like on every rack there was light and a system of watering, and then that was how they were doing it. Yeah,
That's
they were
pretty
selling to a little grocery store and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Me and my dad used to have a tomato plant that we would grow out in the backyard that we would grow upside down.
Yes.
Because we would have a hanger. It was something advertised in the 90s where
Okay.
you put the seeds inside and it grows upside down. It's supposed to grow not only fuller but straight. Because when you grow it normally,
Yes.
That-
it's too heavy and
it's too bendy and it'll break the stem before you're able to collect. So it's grown upside down. As a result, you actually get bigger, fuller tomatoes. And I was surprised about that. So learning about how to grow more efficiently as well as
Yeah.
self-sufficiently, I think, is a
Yeah.
great thing to learn about. Not only learn about, but to advise to people. Because
yeah.
if there's anything the government wants you to do, they don't want you to be self-sufficient.
Yeah, they want you to rely on some.
They want you to rely on the companies. They want you to rely on
Yes.
where they can get.
Because that's
collect
where the
taxes.
money is created.
That's where they can collect the taxes from. That's
Yes.
correct. They encourage consumerism in the aspect of we don't care what you're putting in your
Yeah.
body as long as you're paying us for it.
Yeah.
And it honestly really hurts a lot of Americans. That's why Americans have such an unhealthy diet. If you see anyone come over from Europe or come down from Canada, you're gonna see fat slobs. You're gonna see people. I'm the average American in this sense. Because I'm not a fat slob, but I am pretty heavy set, and I have been for pretty much all my life. I think the only time I was skinny was when I was trying to go into the Navy.
Okay.
When I was 18 years old, I tried to get into the Navy. They denied me because I had a prior medical condition.
Okay.
That was really devastating. I'll tell that story later. But yeah, that was the only time I was ever fit, and the rest of the time I'd been at least 200 to 260 pounds,
Yeah.
ranging.
But even
somewhere.
me, like since I'm in the US, I think I took over like 25 pounds or something like that. So
I believe that you got a gun on you now. Truly become an American,
yeah.
no matter how much plaid you wear.
Yeah. So yeah, but self-sufficient is definitely like a thing that I think the newer generation will get into maybe, because
I've been seeing a lot of the newer generation, as well as like the RV living.
Yeah.
On top of that, they're also making sure they got their own gardens as well as farm animals.
Yeah.
Now it's hard to balance all that, so you really got to pick an avenue which one you're gonna do.
Yeah, and I was listening to a podcast the other day about something else, and they were telling that the older generation was living to save money, so they were like saving 30% of their salary or something like that, and the generation of today is more saving 5%, but then like 30% of the income goes to the debt.
Mm-hmm.
So
goes to the debt they already owe.
yeah, because they want to live experience, like they want to experience things. They don't want like to just live the little life of having a family and
that's
like that. So
and that's honestly that's the dream and the goal is of a lot of people, is at least get to a point where you can have some experiences. And considering what I grow up seeing, this is from my own personal experience, I don't want to wait until I'm 50, 60 to be able to experience these things. So if I gotta spend money now in order to have that experience and those emotions for later, I would much rather do that than wait till I'm 50 or 60 when I have the money and I can't spend it.
yeah, I think there's a change coming like in how the world is operating right now, because like all the young people don't want to work, and like the old people are still working, but like it's just that we want to live those experiences while we're young. I don't know how it's gonna happen after that. Like, will those people go to work or something, like, or they will still like think, oh no,
So we're definitely in the middle of a big transition period. Ever since COVID in 2020, that was really the main point when younger, not only Americans in general, but younger Americans who are on the workforce, they've experienced what middle class wealth should have looked like, which is $1,200 in a lump sum every month. Some people didn't even make that. A lot of people didn't even know what that looked like all at one time. So when they would get that, some people chose to save a portion of that so they could spend it later. Majority of people spent it right then and there. And it was all sorts of good yippee hoopla, but they knew it was going to come to an end, and we were warned well ahead of time that we would have to pay that back. Now that the public has seen that this is what we could have made all along, this is the pay rate they're expecting, which is terrible for inflation, terrible for the government, but good for people's self-confidence as far as like planting their feet down and asking what they deserve. And I really support that for a lot of, especially young Americans, is make sure you know your value. Make sure you know what you're worth. Waitress and serving jobs.
Even if you think you know your value, you work more than that. Like,
yes, you should always put your 100% into whatever job you have.
Yes.
Even if you don't like it, at least give it 110% for a limited amount of time. If you feel like it's still not for you after like a month of doing this, and they're still mistreating you, and now they're expecting more of you, put your foot down. Say, hey, I've worked this hard, even not for like a month. If it's continually like they're not showing you any appreciation for like 3, maybe even up to 6 months, definitely put your foot down. If you still don't feel like doing it by then, get a new job. Just quietly quit, because if you don't have the confidence to step up to whoever your bosses are, you will never get a foothold in that position that you have. The main way that I found out my value was I had been in the I guess you could call it the hotel industry for about 10 years off and on. My very first hotel, I did not know my value at all. They ended up making me night manager, which was at the time $13 an hour. with no bonuses. Well, it wasn't even a night manager position. They technically still had me listed as a night auditor, which excused my lower pay rate.
Okay.
They were overworking me because I had to work 7 days a week as well as going to school. And by the time that they had noticed a change in my work, like, not workload, in how much I was working, they had hired someone new for me to train that was going to replace me. They didn't plan on having someone there for my days off. They planned on replacing me straight up. So I remember that day very vividly because I lost my job, and the one thing I saw on my phone was "You're done" by my general manager. So I went up, I started training this kid, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm supposed to be the only night audit." I'm like, "So what's happening to me?" He's like, "I don't know, you moving to day shift or something?" I'm like, "I can't do day shift, I have school." And he's like, "I don't know, man." I'm like, "All right, you know what? I'll be back. I'm gonna go take a break." I went out back. I told him I was gonna go smoke a cigarette. I didn't do that. I sat in my car and I was just so tired that I passed out. I passed out until 6 a.m. I started work at 10 p.m. And I was supposed to be off of work by 7. I had 15 missed calls as well as 4 text messages. One of them being from my general manager saying, "You're done." I was like, well, glad I solidified that. I went back inside to try to help the dude like set up for the morning as best as he can, but the day didn't roll, which is really bad for night audit. There was no process payments. He didn't know how to check people in, so there was many complaints left over. And when I got back in there, it was supposed to be half an hour until breakfast started. There was nothing set up for breakfast yet, which was also our responsibility. So I tried as quickly as I can to roll the day, get breakfast set up, and then dip out before my manager came in, because that would have been hell had he come in and seen me. But as soon as I lost that job, I was real depressed for like, I want to say a month about losing the job. But then I pretty much got over it when I realized they were working me 7 days a week for 9 hours a day, for $13 an hour when I was in a manager position, and doing that as well as Starbucks, bartending, and setting up breakfast. 3 of which I'm not supposed to do as a night audit.
That's what's for the best. Like
it was a good thing. It was a good thing that happened in a bad way. But that's what I mean by know your value. They're gonna try to work you as best as you can, as long as you don't argue, or as long as they make it a way to show you the value in it. Like, you're doing this for the company, you're doing this for the family. You should be working as hard as you can, just like everyone else is. Don't believe that. Work as hard as you can. Don't work as hard as they expect you to. Because if you work as hard as they expect you to, they're gonna break your back.
I don't think everybody will act like that, but maybe it's my Canada thought.
No, go ahead. What's up?
No, but it's just that, like, you know, some, like, you work for a job, like, you're expected to do the work, and like, if you don't do the work, like, why would they keep you? You know, that's my perspective on that, because I've been employing people and everything, so I'm on the other side, so
and I want to hear from that other side, because I want to give you.
I mean, I said what I needed to say.
All right, so clarification, I guess, is needed on my part, because I do agree with you in that aspect where whoever is hired needs to be able to do that job. I was hired for the position of night audit, and I was never given any compensation or pay raises for the extra hats I was putting on.
But if you don't ask, you know, that's where it's your fault. Like, you know,
and that's where the confidence comes in. That's why you need to know your own value. You need to be able to speak up for yourself, I think, is a better way for me to put it. Because
definitely, because if you don't speak, nobody will speak for you. Like, you know,
the boss ain't gonna know.
So.
All right. So in that aspect, I do still agree with you. It's just that I had a more not jaded, a more expressive opinion on it. Because I've been through quite a few jobs where I felt disrespected. Funny enough, do you have any stories before I go on? I do have one more thing I want to say.
No, I don't.
Okay. About that work, So my very first job out of high school, I was working in a theme park. If you're in Florida, or you know about Florida, you probably know which one it is. It's only like one of 4 that are possible. I'm not going to say which one, but I'm gonna say it was fun. So I was working at this job. I was working at a position called greeter, where greeter is the very first person in front of an attraction who lets people in, differentiates the lines if that's their position, if they're not merged, which is another position further in the line. So I was standing out at this position. I had a terribly heat condensed costume that would suffocate me and make me sweat, so I was already miserable on a hot summer day. But I'm trying to be as chipper and happy as possible. Hi, welcome everybody. Use this line or this line, whichever you have the qualifications for. And then this, I don't want to say they were specifically Indian, but they were definitely from an Indian region. They were either Indian, Sri Lankan, Nepalian, something. But they came out with their family. And the father immediately came up to me and started screaming at me and said, I can't believe you're doing this to families. What the fuck is going on? Why are you torturing people inside of a ride? He mistook what the ride was about, because the very first place you go into outside of the line looks like a torture chamber. There's spikes, Iron Maidens, little ghostly screams. It's supposed to set the theme, right? Yeah. It was no Halloween time or anything. This is just how the ride is, and it gets funny later on. So that just sort of went with the theming, but apparently their child got very, very scared and believed that there was torture going on. Okay. So as a result of what his son believed, apparently he believed it too. He came up deciding to scream at me for it, and he got so disrespectful that he spit in my face. Okay. I was gonna rip his head off. I was furious. It took everything in my power to hold back for another 10 seconds while my boss came out, because it was luck of the draw. He just happened to come out right when that guest spit on my face. And he saw me clenching up my fist. He came running out. He's like, Chris, go take a bathroom break. I got this. I'm like, yes, sir. And I walked away, went to the break room, and I just clocked out for the day. They're like, yeah, no, you're furious and you're not getting any better. Do you want to take early off? Do you want early release? And I'm like, yes, please give that to me. I still feel his disgusting spit on my face. And a majority of people who were in that position would probably have done something. They probably would have been like, nah, this job isn't worth it. And just lost their job right then and there. I don't think that's ever the thing to do. If you were ever in a position where you feel like, fuck it, I don't need this job anyways, I'm just gonna ruin something for this company or for this guest because I feel disrespected and angry. You need to be able to control that anger.
Yeah, that's for sure.
If you have decided, fuck it, this is no longer a job for me, make the proper steps to get away from that job. Or if you can't handle another day of it, you could straight up just quit. No one's going to stop you, and you're not required to give a 2 weeks notice. It's beneficial to give a 2 weeks notice. Not only will it give you on good standards for that company, but it will give you as well as them time to find someone to fill your position as well as you to find a new job. While they could have you on the back burner, like they could have you doing something less important. For instance, if you're working at a restaurant, instead of having you line cook on the busy days, they could have you prep work on the slower days. Yeah. So that way they still have you working, but they aren't relying on you for the busiest of times because they're going to lose you anyways. Now,
all right. Go ahead. I think
that's all we got.
Yeah, I think that's we've
I'm
been
sorry.
talking a lot.
I stole the show. I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay. So yeah, and like if you have another subject for us, just comment in the.
Yes, please. If you have anything for us to talk about, as you can tell, we had literally no subject today,
yeah,
and we still found a way to talk for half an hour. Well, I should say I found a way to talk for half an hour.
So
go ahead and leave a like. Make sure to leave a comment for us to view and see if you got any suggestions for us. Hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And
hope you have a good day, and I'll see you.
Oh, there's one more thing
on the next one.
What about the socials?
Oh, yeah, we have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and if you're still there, we got on YouTube, so we're subscribed.
That's exactly where we're posting this. Yes. Anyways, have a good day.